You will hook up with average-looking white people, but only choose to hook up with extremely attractive people of color.
Indian girls will date a white guy for one of two reasons. Number one, they found someone that genuinely makes them happy. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks, please. Or number two, the last brown boy they dated traumatized them, so they're off brown boys completely. They went to the other side of the spectrum. There is no in between.
When you start dating a white boy, you start saying stuff like, lo and behold, I don't give a rat's ass. Many moons ago. All of a sudden, you're not watching La Rosa de Guadalupe anymore, you're watching F1. You stop wearing Jessica's athletic wear and you start wearing Lululemon. You're no longer going to Picolandia, you're going to Irvine Spectrum.
Yo, all these brown ladkiya date white guys and then they call them Johnny Man. That is Jonathan.
I don't know what you heard about me, but a bleep can't get a dollar out of me. No matter how hard you freaking try, 'cause I'm just that freaking broke, you see?
Indian women are some of the most beautiful women in the world. Stepping out of the culture and marrying a different race can be dealt with resistance. However, when they step out and marry white, is it more acceptable for the family? As usual, credit to all the persons video that I've put together. Let's ride into this video.
If you are a brown girl, here are my top 5 tips on how you can get your parents to fall in love with a white boy. Teach him how to make the chai that your parents drink. Tip number 2, teach him how to dress.
But is the skirt necessary?
Yeah, it kind of is. Tip number 3, teach him how to speak the language.
Mera Urdu theek
Hanji, theek hai.
hai?
Tip number 4, make sure that you can insert the word engineer or doctor in his job title.
Hi, Mom.
And the most important step of all, teach him how to head bobble. And now you take all 5 steps and put them all together.
Ab theek hai?
I have a great example of if he wanted to, he would. I'm a brown woman, I'm Indian American, and my boyfriend is white. And before we met, I made a list of qualities that I wanted in a partner, which by the way, if you haven't done this, I totally recommend doing it. And one of the qualities that I listed was to find someone either from my culture or someone who was interested in learning about it. And this man, before our first date, he watched 2 Bollywood movies. I didn't ask him to do that. He just out of the blue texted me and was like, hey, I'm interested in learning more about Indian culture, especially Bollywood. Like, do you have any movie recommendations? Been together almost 2.5 years. And since then, not only does he watch a ton of movies with me, he's learned how to make Indian food. He is learning a few Hindi words. Like, he literally surprised me one day and had made dal and roti. So let this be a reminder to you to not settle.
You're a solid 4, but some Indians will call you a 10 because you're white, hence your husband. Then this is when you get brought into it. If your husband was more attractive, there would be girls being upset that he ended up with you. But I saw pics of your husband, and I'm pretty confident that most brown women didn't pay him attention anyways. So it works out.
Damn. I just gotta say, that's hurtful. I don't think I look that ugly.
Apparently we're both 4s.
Dr. Uma Johnson says this.
Black men get the white women that other white men genuinely do not want. You don't get the top of the line white women. You don't. You get leftovers.
This is prevalent in the black community. Is this also a fact in the South Asian community?
You will hook up with average-looking white people, but only choose to hook up with extremely attractive people of color.
Let's talk about this because she's so spot on. Like, every POC who ever has existed has known and seen their most beautiful POC friends be looked over for the most average looking white people. As a POC girl, you have to be extraordinarily beautiful just to be noticed.
To be honest, people, is she correct? White guys get the diamonds in the black community they get the best of the black woman. Is that the same in the brown community?
Zoya, why you not been going on dates with Indian boys? I don't understand.
Not many Indian guys ask me out.
Yeah, but you never go. Even the few that ask you out, you never go. Why is that?
Some of them have been pretty arrogant.
What? Nobody is arrogant. They're not being arrogant. They know they're the best. They're Indian boys. You must be doing something bad. You must be going out there blabbering all over town telling people your opinions.
I'm not allowed to share my opinions.
No, you be quiet. No, exactly. You sit there, you go on a date with an Indian boy, sit there quiet, quiet like a mouse, and look good.
Mixed reactions you get from Indian people when you marry a white man. That one married European fella. Why? Our Indian boy is not good enough for her. She thinks she's too good now. She married a white fella. Can't catch her now.
Yeah, that one talks like a white girl also, so she thinks she's white.
So nice, at least your children will be nice and fur, hey?
So, our Indian men are not good enough for you? You have to find a white man and think you're better than all of us?
Yeah, dirty white fella like that she married. So nice you married a white fella. They got lot money, you know that, hey? But now why you never come tell me you're having problems finding an Indian boy? I would have gone temple and found you one. There's nice fellas there. But does he shower every day? Most white men don't shower every day. They dirty. Ayo, never mind she married a white fella. Shame, you can't find an Indian man. She's 32 years old. Who's gonna marry her now? She had to find a white man.
I don't know what you heard about me, but a bleep can't get a dollar out of me. No matter how hard you freaking try. Cause I'm just that freaking broke, you see?
When many people of color, black and brown, marry white, do they move up economically and socially?
So beta, you're 24 and a half years old. Are you thinking about marriage?
No, to be honest, auntie, I've been dating these white women.
Dating white women is okay, but I'm talking about marriage.
Okay, I know, but I love Becky.
Becky, Shaki, Maki. Marriage doesn't need love. Look at me and your uncle. Loveless marriage. 25 years and counting. Look, beta, dating is fine, but you need to marry an Indian woman.
But auntie, she's so open-minded.
Too open? Very open. Her legs are also open.
Oh, auntie, hi, Bhagwan!
Tell me, does Becky wash your clothes?
Honestly, no.
Does she iron your clothes?
No.
Does she make round chapatis?
No, auntie.
Very bad.
No, but she makes spaghetti.
Okay, tell me one thing, honestly. Do you add salt to her spaghetti? I knew it!
I know her food is kachra.
Beta, you need an arranged marriage immediately.
I know, but Priya left a bad taste in my mouth.
No one likes that Priya, but I have Shriya, Riya and Jia ready.
Oh. Did you say Shriya?
Shriya, lawyer.
Okay, not bad. Auntie, you're picking not bad.
In the spirit of white people, let me talk to you like a white woman.
Okay.
They love to play would you rather games.
Oh my god, Becky, all she talks about would you rather, I don't get.
So tell me, beta, would you rather canned tuna or chicken tikka?
Chicken tikka.
Good boy. Would you rather OnlyFans or only husband?
Oh, auntie, how you know OnlyFans?
Answer the question.
Only husband.
Would you rather all your life idiot or benchod?
Benchod.
Yes, beta.
If you've married a white person, how did you break the news to your parents?
How I introduced my white boyfriend to my Punjabi family. When we started dating, like most brown kids, I didn't tell my parents about him. We started dating right after high school, and I don't know, I guess like most kids, you just want to make sure that like your relationship is actually serious before you tell your parents about it and introduce them to the family, because it's a pretty big deal. Started dating, I let them know like, if you want to meet my parents, like you have to be serious. There's no messing around, because if I introduce you, they are going to think and assume that we're getting married. And sort of to my surprise, just a few months in, he was like, okay, like cool, like why would I be dating you if I didn't have the intention to marry you one day? So I was like, okay, cool. When I was in undergrad, I slowly started to introduce him to my family by bringing him over strictly for like study dates. So he would come over as my friend or my study buddy, and we would make sure that it was completely platonic. We literally would just study, and he would just like, you know, show my mom that he was a good influence on me. I first introduced him to my brothers. I then introduced him to my mom, and she had some questions and I answered her questions. She processed it and then she was on board and she was like, okay, you need to tell your dad. I was dreading that. That was just like the most awkward thing of my life to me. I just didn't want to do it. It was just going to be so awkward. My mom kept being like, you need to tell him, you need to tell him. And I was like, no. One day we were all just sitting together and she literally just goes, so Mel has something to tell you to my dad. And I was like, oh my God, no, I don't. No, I don't. And I feel like he kind of knew what was coming too, because you probably already told him, give him a heads up. And he was also sitting there like super awkwardly. And then I was like, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. And she was like, Mel has a boyfriend. And then me and my dad just both walked away. But that was like ripping off the band-aids. I already had a good impression of him because they knew him as my friend who came over and studied with me. Slowly he just started coming over for dinners and stuff, and it was awkward at the beginning, and then eventually it just got less awkward, and here we are. Now we're getting married. And that is how I introduced my white boyfriend, now fiance, to my Punjabi parents.
I have to ask this question because I observe it and I've heard about it. Do Indian brothers watch and follow their sisters?
Welcome to my tutorial on how to introduce your Gora boyfriend to your Indian immigrant parents. I probably could have used a tutorial when I did this. Okay, step one, you're going to introduce him to your mom at least as your friend. Eventually, your friend is going to come over strictly for study dates, and your mother is going to make your little brother sit in the living room with you while you study for hours. No movies, no trying to sneak off alone, no flirting, no smiling, no looking at each other. Okay, just kidding, you can look at each other. But, you know, just let your mom see that you guys are studying together. Step two, your mom inevitably figures out that something is fishy. This is the time to come clean because she is your mother. She's going to figure it out, even if you don't, and then she's going to be more mad. Next, you're going to let her have her emotions, have her thoughts, and you're going to stay open. You're going to communicate. You're going to stay firm on your relationship and make sure that your relationship is strong enough to get through this. Eventually, your mom is going to be okay and she's going to want to meet him, and now you want to start introducing him to your mom in a more partner capacity. Step three, we hope that your mom likes him by now and she's on board, and you're going to get her to talk to your dad, because it would just be awkward if you did it. Then you're going to have some awkward family hangouts, but eventually he's going to become part of your family, and your family's going to love him, and you guys are going to live happily ever after.
Here's an interesting statistic. White guys view black women differently than black guys. And these statistics don't lie. Interracial divorce rates. This is pretty interesting. A black man and a white woman are 200% more likely to be divorced. An Asian man and a white woman are 59% more likely to be divorced. An Asian woman and a white man are 4% more likely to be divorced. But this is the crown of the study. A white man and a black woman are 44% less likely to get divorced.
What do you think about that statistic?
White women are celebrities in India.
She is quite an...
Yeah, because it's a beauty standard. I mean, in India, they like to bleach their skin in order to be more white. And most of the Bollywood stars are light-skinned. So, There's nothing good about this, that we white women are celebrities. It's not really a celebrities. It's just like, wow, look at them, I want to look like them, in a very unhealthy way.
On a factual note, white supremacy is ever present in the black community. Indians were colonized by the British, and we see colorism is dominant in Bollywood. Are Indians affected by white supremacy the same way black people are?
So people are very intrigued to learn this about me, but brief history lesson. The British colonized India for 200 years, and during that time they ran the government. So they had all the jobs that you have in any government, postal service, agricultural, whatever. So my whole mom's side of the family generationally used to work for the British government, because that's just what you did. You did what your older brother was doing, you did what your dad did. So for many generations, my mom's side of the family worked for the British government. And so if you work for the British government, you have to know how to speak English, and you have to know how to speak good English. And if you're a government worker, your kids are probably going to the English speaking schools. So just like that, generationally, everyone just spoke English, spoke very good English, and we just kind of all just speak English at home. We're ethnically Telugu, but we a long time ago settled in other cities, so just the common language ends up being English. Also, my family has a very huge focus on education. That's just the thing in my family. Everyone is very big on education and further education. And back in the day in British India, further education would mean going to either a British university in India, or studying in London, or studying somewhere in Europe or America. So just from, generationally, English has been a very common thing. I've told this story before. Till the age of 10, I did not speak any other language but English. We obviously spoke with an Indian accent at home, but it was very good, very clear, vocabulary, diction, all of that. I only started speaking Telugu, Tamil, and Hindi all at the same time when I was 10 years old. And it's because I moved to America and we wanted to have our own language that we could speak in and not other people understand us.
So I married a white guy. We've been married 5 years. I'd say my family was really chill because I moved out at a really young age, and I feel like they were so tired of my shit and just wanted me to get married as soon as possible that when I brought home an American that was willing to convert, they were like, that as long as he's Muslim, we're chill. I got married and then moved to Michigan with him, and I was only around his people, and all of his friends were white. I think that impacted the cultural differences because I felt so isolated. Carl has always been super supportive, but it took time, and more time than I would have liked, for him to get with the culture a little bit more. We moved back to New York, and I think that was the biggest catalyst in our relationship that helped him understand my culture as a Bangladeshi, being in an interracial relationship. I'm so thankful for how much it taught me about myself, how much I am tapped into the culture, because my family so often labels me as the American one. The cultural identity thing isn't just because I married a white dude. I have cultural gaps with my family. I have tattoos, I smoke, I dress the way that I do. All of these things have made a small clash, but then marrying an American made it even more so that no, I'm Bengali, I'm just not Bengaliing your way. Even with all the hardships, I feel centered now.
Is the Stockholm Syndrome and the colonial mindset at play here?
Colonialism doesn't just take your land, it takes your mind as well. And the British Empire had a clear strategy on this one. Force and enforce English and make people ashamed of their culture and their language. 2 tactics. With British colonial power, there's always the same 2 tactics, right? You've got your hard power, so hard enforcements, the rules, the punishments, the laws, the brutality. And then the soft power, which is often forgotten about, which is the psychological manipulation and the propaganda. And a lot of internalized shame. And it worked. Generations of Irish and other Celtic and other nations across the world grew up thinking that their own language wasn't valuable. This is exactly what happened in my family. My grandfather was a native Irish speaker. He was from Spittal, Connemara, and he came to Dublin when he was 16, and it was then that he started to speak English. But when he had my father, he didn't pass that on. And my father has zero Irish. I asked my grandmother, who's still alive, why, and she said, well, we just thought it had no value for them. We lived in Dublin, nobody spoke it, so you can imagine for them, I guess, who were they speaking Irish for? Is only for my grandfather's parents who had passed away. That was what their minds, that's how they felt in their minds. They didn't see the bigger picture. They thought the language was useless, they thought that it was dead. And I wish that my grandfather could see all the lovely TikToks and the people speaking and learning and teaching Irish on this app, because he'd be so proud. The British didn't do that just to the Irish though. In Wales, children caught speaking Welsh in school had to wear this lovely plaque that said Wales not for the whole day. And if by the end of the day the child had still this around their neck, they'd take a beating. This made Welsh children terrified to speak their own language. The internalized shame of being beaten every time you use your language. We have a vibrant community of Gael schools in Ireland now. For a long time, Irish was outlawed in schools and we were also beaten as children for using it. Over time, people start to associate Celtic languages with poor, uneducated Philistines. I mean, you know where that word came from. When they went to India and Africa, at first, they did allow you to use your native language for one thing. You could read the Bible in it. Once you were converted to Christianity, though, no more language for you. Once the punishments and restrictions were in place, this created a nasty feedback loop that we're still trying to work through. Parents stopped even teaching their children the languages because they thought that it would hold them back. And increasingly, English was embraced as the language of business, and more over generations, parents felt that they must equip their children with English so that they can be successful. That's why English is the most spoken language in the world. It is not the most successful language in the world. It just speaks volumes to the brutality of the British Empire, that they forced that many people to give up their culture. So then what you have emerging in the 20th century is that speaking English becomes a status symbol. Speaking your native language is a sign that you are backwards. And so over time, people didn't need to be forced to speak the language. They did so willingly, thinking that this was a smart choice. And that is the ultimate success of colonialism, when you can get the people to police their own self from your internalized colonial mind. And that is the ultimate success of colonialism, when you can get the people to police their own self from your internalized colonial mind. This is still happening. We are still fighting this. Globalism is the new colonialism. Local languages and cultures continue to be erased, except instead of the British, it's the American Empire, and instead of military force, it's corporate power. One of the first ways to resist colonization is to take back your own language skills.
I don't know what you heard about me, but a bleep can't get a dollar out of me, no matter how hard you freaking try, 'cause I'm just that freaking broke, you see?
After listening her, is she correct on the colonial mindset? And does it play an integral part in the choices we make? Such as, when many of us marry, we always want to marry somebody of a lighter complexion.
Let's talk about the hypocrisy of interracial relationships in brown culture. We've seen it where brown guys date white girls and everyone's like, "King, he made it, making the boys proud." And he's put on a pedestal because he scored a white girl. When a girl dates a white boy, it's like, "Oh, the brown boys didn't want you. Oh, you couldn't find somebody in your own community, huh?" And let's peel back another layer of racism. The idolization of brown guys dating somebody outside the brown community only happens when it's a white girl. You don't hear people saying he made it when he's dating a black woman or a Latina woman or literally any other race. Brown boys perpetuate white supremacy and we don't even realize it. When a brown girl dates a black man, he's called a kalu, and literally every race has some kind of racial slur in the brown community. Plus, brown parents are more accepting of their son dating outside the brown community than they are of their daughters. The worst part is it's guys our age who do this too. If you're a brown guy who uses racial slurs, including the N-word, which was y'all's favorite word until last year, I don't want to insult you, but I request that you check yourself. Saying something as simple as "he made the boys pride when a brown guy dates a white girl, that is racist and sexist. You're a part of the problem, and then you wonder why you can't get a brown girl.
I hope this video has been enlightening. I want to thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.